Hello. Hi, Tarana. How are you? Very good, very good. So as we're waiting for people to come in, if you would just put your name in the chat, where you're from or where you teach, a little bit about yourself, just something in the chat that we can share with each other. And of course, you do not have to have your camera on for today's meeting. If you'd like to, that's fine too. I do like looking at your faces, but I understand sometimes we're doing other things. So it's absolutely okay to just be going about your life and listening in the background as well. So if you're just joining, we're going to put our name and maybe where we teach or a little about ourselves in the chat. Rachel joining, very good. All right. You will get views of me with my glasses as I try to read things. Isa from Puerto Rico, hello. Jody from Houston, she doesn't teach, but takes classes. That's awesome. And my Tirana, New Jersey friend from way back, teaching pole to pole fitness. Yes, and pulling for 8 years. Excellent, excellent. All right. I'm going to turn my phone off because my daughter always tends to call me when I have meetings. So we're going to get that off for now and we will get started. You may see me go as people join and just kind of look away. And that's just because I'm letting people in. All right, let's see. We've got one more here. We have Kine. Am I saying that right? Kine, I don't know, from Norway. I'm sure I'm not saying it right. Phonetics would be wonderful, but I'm sorry I butchered your name, and hello all the way over in Norway, and thank you for joining. All right, all right. So I'm Fran. I'm the owner of Body by Fran Training. I've been in online business, online pole strength and conditioning business for 4 years now, since the pandemic. I have a pandemic baby. And today, what I'd like to do to share with you is what I would do personally if I were starting my business over now in 2024. And why am I framing it like that? Well, because the online space has changed quite a bit in 4 years. And I'm not sure if you remember back in the pandemic, but we were dying for anything, any kind of socialization, any kind of program that anyone would offer, we'd jump into them. We were bored. We were home all the time. And so we needed stuff to occupy our minds and to take away our anxieties and our feelings. And we needed to connect because we weren't doing that. But now the landscape is changing. Everyone's back to work, everyone's busy, and a lot of the sales techniques that were working back in the day are not working so much now. And so I want to share with you what I'm doing differently now, because if you've noticed, I'm not doing as much strength and conditioning. So for me, I kind of am starting my business over again from scratch. So I'm starting to focus more on instructors, instructor mentorships, teaching about teaching and learning, promoting my strength and conditioning certification, and now venturing into business coaching. I am doing one-on-one coaching now. And so I'm starting to offer these free seminars as a way to get new eyes on my work. A lot of my audience are pole dancers, and that's wonderful, and I love them. And I will continue to do strength and conditioning content for the masses because I love it so much. But transitioning in this way means I need to get some new eyes on my work because I'm promoting a different business model now. And so this training, this free training here is what we call a lead magnet. And what this does is two things. A, it gives you results. So everything you learn here, you'll be able to implement and kind of work through and start using right away. And B, it gives me an idea of how many people and who is interested in business coaching, right? So from that, I can make offers to you all that I think for products that you may like, which I'm going to talk about today. I have a brand new business coaching offer called the Pull Business Intensive. No need to join. If you're interested and you want to, that's fine. But I'm actually showing you behind the scenes of how business works here. So today we're doing a free training. And number one, I want you to get results from this. I want you to be able to use it, right? But number two, if you're interested in continuing, now I have an offer for you so that you can continue on and work with me in business coaching, right? Results and an offer. A lot of times when we're new to the online landscape, we're like, I have this great idea. It's a great program. Here it is, buy it. And there's crickets, right? And why are there crickets? It's not because you suck. It's not because your program is bad. It's just because you haven't either generated the right leads or the right audience eyes for people who need what you're offering, or you're just not saying it enough, right? It's just, I have this thing, boom, here it is. Nobody bought it, so I'm never going to say it again. Y'all are going to get some emails from me about my business course. You can absolutely unsubscribe or delete them all you want, but I implore you to read them and look at them. And if nothing else, think about what I'm doing with them, right? I'm not trying to convince you. You need something. I'm offering something to you. So read the emails and look at them and maybe take some of that with you too if you start marketing programs via email. We aren't going to talk about email marketing today. We're going to talk a lot about social media and using it to promote online business. Now, it's a non-negotiable. If you don't like social media and you have an online business, it's going to be really difficult to try to promote yourself. So I'd say pick something. If you don't like Instagram, maybe longer form on YouTube. That's great for promotion. Maybe you like threads. You like to say things and talk and little short talks of things that giving information to people. That's fine too. Whatever the platform is that you enjoy. A lot of people have great success on TikTok. It's not my favorite, but use what you enjoy. I'm going to talk a bit about Instagram, but this can relate to all social media platforms. Again, you need it to promote an online business. And I know that we have specific struggles as pole dancers with social media. And we see it all the time. People's posts are being removed, you're not being shown to new audiences, all this kind of stuff. And I implore you that if you really want to have a successful online business, that you think about what you put out there. I know it's frustrating. You'd say, well, I didn't do anything wrong there, and it's getting blocked. Yes, for some reason, and it isn't fair. But if you want to run a business, you've got to find a workaround. What works, right? So if I'm wearing shorts, tiny shorts in a video, I'm usually not doing much pull or no spready kind of pull stuff. It's what I've found that gets pushed out more content-wise, right? So I can stand there in my shorts and talk about business. But if I go up and do a big old spready to the gods in it, sometimes they're like, and they don't like it. So I pivot and I pull in big genie pants, and people love it because it's fun and it's different, right? It's a visual. So you can find things that work for you. And hey, if you really are really pissed off about being censored on social media, don't use it and teach in person. That's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with being upset about it, and there's nothing wrong with working around it. You just have to do you. And that's the most important takeaway here is if you want to do online business, do it. And if you don't, it's all good. And I'm going to teach you some workarounds and things here. So I'm going to share my screen. And if you have any questions, please feel free to either just unmute yourself or raise a virtual hand and I'll look at that. Oh, here we go. Let's see if we can find this. So I'm technologically challenged. Do we see this? Tarana, do you see it? Thumbs up if you can see it. Yeah, all right. Yay. We're getting better. Push that out of the way. All right, so this training is called Content to Cash, and I'm going to talk a little bit later about why I named it this. It's on purpose, right? And I used a little dollar sign in there because it makes me happy, and it's cute, right? But it conveys something. You can see in the corner, I have my logo for my new pole business course that I'll be running, and I'll talk about that later, the Pole Business Intensive. But today I'm going to be giving you a framework for using social media to promote your online pole business or your online coaching, whatever it is that you'd like to do. So what we're going to talk about today, growing your audience and building trust. One of the most important things, and I hear a lot of pole dancers say that, well, my work's not getting shown to a lot of people, but that's okay. I'm just going to let the regular people see it, and that's okay. And that's fine. If that's all you want is for your followers to see it and to build communication with your followers that you have already, that's great. If you want to build and grow your viewership, your audience, you are going to have to do a little bit more, and you'll have to really use your data. And we'll talk about that too, how to do that, to understand what Instagram will push for you and what it won't. Right? So again, if you want to grow, that's wonderful. We'll do that. If you don't want to grow, you can stay with the people you have and build trust with them there. It's really, really, really important. As I mentioned, the online landscape is changing. People were buying from big businesses that had flashy logos and fancy videos, and it was easy. Now, consumers are more savvy. They don't want a fancy edited video as much as they want a connection with you. So building trust, building like and authority with your viewers and interacting with them and creating these relationships is more important than having anything flashy. And so again, we will talk about what you need and don't need to start an online business, because I'm sure a lot of you are just in the thinking phases of this. And it is a lot of thought, isn't it? I'm going to help you narrow some of this down and what you need and what you don't need to get started right away. We're going to talk about best practices for social media. I'm going to give you a lot of the things that I do personally. And then just some general overviews of what best practices are on social media. It's different for us. I hate to say it. And when I first started business coaching, I was in a group with over 150 fitness and nutrition coaches, and there was nothing relevant to what I was doing. And I would try stuff and be like, oh, that doesn't work for me. Oof, well, that didn't work for me either, right? So I had to pivot a lot and figure things out. So I want to share that with you, all those best practices. Social media and using social media for marketing and sales and for trust building and growing an audience is a lot of work. And it requires a lot of mental energy. Polling requires our physical energy, and business requires mental energy, and it's a different skill set. So I want you to give yourself grace and time and learn how to manage your time and energy with this. We can't just go in and say, well, I see so-and-so, and they have a successful business, and they post this many times, and this is what they do, and this is what they say, and I'm going to do that. Because it may not fit your lifestyle, your energy, your way of working and doing things. So we'll talk a bit about that too, about how you can be the most productive with your unique circumstances. Right now, I'm retired. I have a lot of time. I do a lot of stuff myself. I am mostly a solopreneur. But, if I were working a full-time job on top of this, I would need to cut back on a lot of things that I'm doing myself. I'm going to talk a little bit about what to sell and when to sell it, and that's really, really important. And then we'll dive into naming your offers, because I just think that's so fun, so much fun. So one of the best parts. All right. So let me just say this. You don't have to figure out your whole business today. I know a lot of people think, well, if I don't get it all organized and no, one step at a time. Taking one step in that direction. You've done that by signing up for this. And those of you that are here live have taken an extra step. You've gone 2 steps here. And that tells me that you're really committed to starting to grow your online presence and possibly a business. So I'm going to ask that you, from this training, choose one thing to do after the training. Post a piece of content. Anything, just post. Don't overthink it. Just post something. And if you want to tag me in it, I would love that. And that does 2 things. A, it allows me to see what you're doing and follow your stuff and give you some engagement on your posts. And B, it allows me to share that and get more people looking at your work. And it creates sort of a network, right? So it's always good to network with people and share people's work. You can, if you decide to send out an email to your list. Now, your email list does not have to be an extensive 3,000 people that you've gotten over the years and you have in a fancy email service platform. It can be just a few people who've signed up for stuff with you and you have their email addresses. Send them out an email with a tip or with something about you or one of your favorite poll moves, or ask them a question about where they are in their poll journey. Or you can write a thoughtful DM or an email specifically to one previous customer and just let them know what you thought about working with them. Always great ways. We're going to talk a little bit about DMs and how important they are now. They weren't as important as they in the past as they are right now. So if you can get DM conversations happening, that's a great place to start. I just really want to share this quote with you because I found when I read Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, this stood out the most to me. I mean, the book is old, but the thoughts in it are still relevant today. It's giving of yourself to people in order to influence them and win them over. Isn't that ultimately what we want? Even if we're in social media or on social media as consumers and we're just posting our stuff just for fun, we want people to acknowledge it. That's part of the human spirit. We want people to go, oh, yay, that was beautiful. And it makes us feel good, right? So think about this. The world is full of people who are grabbing and self-seeking. So the rare individual who unselfishly tries to serve others has an enormous advantage. And now I started my business. When I started getting into using social media for the business, I looked at what people liked, and people liked when I gave them exercises, strength and conditioning exercises for specific pole moves. So I doubled down on that because that's what they wanted. And I gave to them. I was serving them, right? And so my following grew quite a bit, very fast. All right, so part one, we're going to talk about building trust through social media. Now, your account may not grow as fast as it did during pandemic times. We saw uncharted growth, and sometimes people would go from 1,000 followers to 1,000,000 just because of a reel that hit or something that the algorithm pushed forward and preferred. But that doesn't necessarily mean that those people got 1,000,000 customers. There are people with huge social media followings who don't make money. So if you look at someone who's a poller and they're selling programs and they have like 97,000 followers and people commenting on their stuff all the time, but they're never posting anything about sales, or they're probably not selling much, right? Just because there's followers doesn't mean that people are buying. So let's talk a little bit about the customer journey, because that's the one thing that hasn't changed since I started my business 4 years ago. And we don't normally think about our customer's journey. We think, well, I've got a class and somebody's going to want to buy it, right? Let's go a little further than that. And we're going to look at it as the 3 F's, as I like to call it, or 3 phases, the F phases of the customer journey. Hopefully we don't get into a 4th one, the F it phase, because we don't ever want to have people there. The find it phase. This is where your viewers find you, right? And they decide to follow you. So you see something and then you go to their page, you're like, oh, I like that, follow. That's it. That's like your free content, all the stuff you put out on social media, all that kind of stuff, right? Anything free that someone can find you and follow you from. So the more you can do, the better. But I'm not trying to stress you out, right? Pick a platform and go all in on it. I use Instagram. I have a little bit on YouTube. I do emails, and I don't like podcasts. I'll be on people's, but I don't have one. And I started writing a blog just for me, just for SEO for my website or search engine optimization, and for me to start writing and get better at writing. I personally am a scientist, and my writing is succinct and lucid. So it's very difficult for me to break out of that and write in a compelling way. So I use the blog for that. But again, all that free stuff to say, find me, here I am. Then there's the kind of feeling it phase. So your viewers have opted in for something. They're like, oh, I'm digging Body by Fran. Yeah, I got that freebie workout video. I got the free content for cash. That's cool. So they opted in and have given you their email in return. We love that. That's excellent. You've got an exchange there. And that means your people are really just starting to feel you and the vibe that you have. Don't get put off if people sign up for your emails and they unsubscribe. People do that all the time. Think about your own habits, right? You sign up for something, you're like, I don't want that anymore. And then you sign up again for something else and you're like, yeah, whatever. Don't take it personally. And then finally, the fund it phase. And we would really love to move every single person that finds us into the funding us phase, but that doesn't happen. But we are always grateful for the people who do trust us on their journey and whatever it is. These are your customers. They've paid for a service for you, with you. Now, what we tend to think is somebody has found you, they've opted in for a freebie, they're absolutely going to buy, right? Because they love you, and that's what's going to happen. This journey can take weeks, months, years, right? You think about why you follow people. You want to learn as much as you can from them. You want to trust them and like them. You want to know about them. So for those of you that are really new to Body by Fran and are watching this and are like, all right, this is pretty good. I don't expect everybody's going to run out and buy my business program, right? Because I'm new to you. Some of y'all will, and that's great, and we'll have a great time, but that's okay. I'm not going to get upset about that because it could take months. Have you gotten, seen promotions for workshops or traincations or something, a program, and you've looked at it a few times, you're like, yeah, not now. Yeah, not now. Yeah, not now. And maybe a year later, you're ready, right? You're ready. And that's okay. Let people be ready for it. Just keep giving them and loving up on them until they are ready for it. And if they're not, that's fine too. There's enough people out there for all of us, right? And please don't get nervous that someone else might be doing something similar that you're doing. It's okay. There really are enough people to go around, enough clients to go around. And I encourage people to learn from others. I think that's the best way to learn. All right, so how does all of this customer journey and stuff fit into trust building? So when someone finds you and they start to follow you, that's like a first date. You're all excited. You're going to try on the account and see if it fits. You're like, let's have this account. Look how fun it is. These are people that we like to call cold leads. They've just found you. It's like a new love interest. You kind of have to prove yourself. You have to nurture them a little bit. Let them know, like, and trust you. You wouldn't say to someone you've went on a first date with, hey, you want to get married tomorrow? Right? So you're never going to say to somebody that follows you, hi, jump in the DM. Thanks for following me. Do you want to buy my program? That's, ick, ick, right? Don't do that. You can go on when somebody follows you and go, hey, thanks so much for following. Is there anything you're interested in seeing from me? It's a great way to start a connection with people, right? And it's nurturing, getting to begin to know them. And then they know that they can trust you'll be there for them if they have questions, right? Now, I'm not going to get into the people that just always ask questions and never, never buy anything, but that's okay too. Now, your email list, your DM conversations, Facebook groups, anything else that you do like that is like when you get into a dating relationship with someone. There's give and take there. They're warmer leads. We call them warm leads. You don't have to do as much to get them from where they are now to purchasing someday. These people will be more likely to purchase from you than the cold leads who've just followed you. And that's just natural. It takes a while. Once your buyers have committed to you and your methodology, that's like your marriage, right? And you can marry as many people as you want on the internet, right? Depending on your programming. It's not cheating. My biggest tips for your social media, whichever one you use, is be authentic and don't worry about whether people like you or not. Not everybody's going to like you. And that's a big one for me because I don't like it when people don't like me, and I don't like disagreements and arguments, and it makes me nervous. But you know what? Not everybody likes me, and it's okay. I have to still be me. I can't change who I am to try to make everybody like me. That's just weird, right? So let the people who don't dig you go and find people they dig, and really love up on those people that gel with you and feel like they're your people. And you'll have a much better experience than trying to spread yourself too thin and be liked by everyone. Be consistent. You want to build reliability. People need to know that, well, Tarana teaches these great combos. I know every Thursday I'm going to get a new combo from Tarana, and I'm going to train with my friends on Friday, and we're going to try it. Right? So what happens if you do that for 6 months and then you just completely drop off because you're bored with it? You've lost people who could actually now start buying programs from you because they've gotten so used to that consistency. They want more from you, right? So if you drop off the face of the earth, people are going to think you're not in business anymore. And you don't want that, right? We don't want that. And then in the beginning, when you're using social media, think quantity over quality, at least at first. You really just want to start getting the habit of getting the reps in. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. I know it seems like it's a lot, and we'll talk about that later. When you're building content that builds trust, you also build authority so that your viewers see you as the expert, right? So you could come on to social media, and I've seen a girl who just started promoting herself as a deadlift queen or something like that. And all of her posts are deadlifts. And people are asking for it. When are you going to have a program? I want to do deadlifts. What tips do you have? Right. So she's made herself the authority on deadlifts. She can do them. She can teach them. Right. She's got some authority there. So I'm not going to go to somebody who just teaches all kinds of pole class. If I want to learn the deadlift, I'm going to go to the girl who teaches the deadlifts. Right. Relatedness. Your viewers want to feel a connection to you. And what used to happen with Instagram, I mean, when I started in like 2012 on Instagram, it was those short little either pictures or really short 10 or 15-second videos, right? So you didn't get to know anyone. You're just like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool too. Oh, I like that. That's cool. I'll save it and try it. Right? Now people want a relationship with you. They want to feel connected to you. So this is where your authenticity and your personality come in. I can't tell you how many messages, emails, and DMs I got when my bulldog passed away. Because I posted him every day in my stories and I shared him that he was my joy and we had coffee together every day or he'd be waiting for me to train, people got to know that about me. And they felt my pain when he passed away because they were there. And people still reach out today and say, I miss your coffees with Rocco, and I'm like, I do too. Thank you so much, So build that connection. Don't be afraid to share things about yourself. Now, if you notice, if you've gone to my main feed, I don't have posts about my personal life on my main feed because that's my business, but I do it in my stories so that everybody can get to know me there. Ideally, think about posting to your main feed 3 to 7 times per week and up to 10 stories per day. That's going to keep your page top of mind and top of feed for people, right? We don't want to be out of people's mind. That happens so easily anyway. How many times are you scrolling social media and like, oh, so-and-so, I forgot about that, right? So we're out of their minds. But if you can be on the top of the feed because you're getting so much interaction, you see, if you comment on somebody's post, you'll see the next day, you'll start seeing all their stuff, right? You'll see all their stories. Start fostering that, right? Put your content out there, have the conversations. Now, if 3 times a week even seems a lot, we can talk about that. We can talk about the energy management there. All right, we're going to get into some social media best practices. And here's where, again, if you've got questions about posts being banned or not being shown to people or being removed from music rights, absolutely ask them, because we can kind of work through some of this stuff, best practices for pole dancers, which is a little bit different for other people. And I have to say this, those of you that teach very sexy styles with sexy clothing and garter belts and shoes, it shouldn't be this way because we have bikini competitors that are out there showing their whole butt to the world, but they are probably going to get dinged a little bit more then those are more covered up, unfortunately, and the movement as well. So anything that's seen as sexual movement. It will be challenging if that's your business and that's what you teach to promote yourself. You may not be able to show yourself fully on social. But what you can do is show a snippet. You can have clever editing so your body isn't showing as much and say, sign up for my email list to see more of this. And that's where you can send people videos and things, private YouTube videos, stuff about your work that might get censored on social media, but you can still deliver it to people. You do have to censor yourself a bit on social media, though, if you want to use that. Remember, it's somebody else's business, right? So someone owns Meta, and that's their business. And so they have a right to censor whatever they want in their business. I don't like it, but I can't do anything about it. So I'm going to work around. There are things that you can do to work around. And if you have questions about that, we can save them for the end. Start, please, 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 with a business or creator account. We want to move you from the mindset of being a consumer to being a creator. Consuming wastes a lot of time. And yeah, it's okay to look on social media to get ideas, but if you spend most of your time doom scrolling, that's less time you have to create. So think about all the time that you're on social media, and you get your screen report from your phone, back that out and start creating stuff in that time. Then you get rid of the I don't have time excuse. That's a big one. Your bio on this account is your business card. So we're going to look at that as a pre-frame that lets people know how you can help them. Think back to Dale Carnegie, right? How can I serve these people? Your bio needs to let them know how you do that. Think about going to someone's account and you go there and there's just a bunch of haphazard videos with no organization. You can't find, I know I saw something here I liked and I wanted to see again, but I can't find it. And it just says, competed in level 4, pole, unicorn fairy, high heel lover. Can they do anything for you? I don't know. I don't know. That doesn't tell me. If I go there and it says, I help teach new pole dancers to become magical unicorn fairies in their heels. Oh, I want to be a magical unicorn fairy in my heels, right? That is a little ambiguous, though. I think you want to be a little bit more specific and tangible with what you want to help people with. Becoming a unicorn fairy would only really apply to a couple people who are like, oh, I like that. That's dreamy. Other people will be like, what does that mean? So you want to use an I help or an I teach statement in your bio that lets people know that you can do something for them. I teach beginners how to walk, how to begin to maneuver in 6-inch heels, something like that, right? Specific, right? So then I know if I go there, I personally am not a heels dancer. So if I go to that page, I'll go, wow, that's great. That looks fantastic, but I don't dance in heels, so I don't need that. Right? Should this person try to attract me? No. There's plenty of people that want that business. If you look now at, if you follow Ariel Zena, Red Ruby Go-Go, she has gone completely from teaching pole to beginners to doing beginner pole teacher certification. She has now moved into what's bringing her joy is teaching women how to be more feminine and posture and walking in heels and presenting themselves in a feminine way because that resonates with her and it's resonating with people. So she's moving out of the pole world a little bit, but finding that there are people out there to help. Right? So whether you're a pole dancer or not. So let people know what you do for them and don't try to be everything for everybody. Be you. Here now we're going to choose what consistency looks like. When I first started, I chose to post 7 days a week. I chose to post at the same time every day, and I still post at the same time every day, somewhere between about 8:30 and 10 a.m., depending on when I wake up and have my coffee. I told you I'm retired and a little lazy sometimes. So yes, this is easier for me. Yes, 7 days a week is okay for me. If you can't commit to that, that's okay. Commit to 3. Right now that I'm switching my business model a bit, I'm posting twice a day, almost every day. One has a little bit of strength and conditioning, and the other is geared towards instructors, business people, right? Is I don't want to stop. I still have strength and conditioning programs, and I will be promoting my boot camp program again this summer. So I don't want to stop the strength and conditioning and switch completely, but I want to nurture those new people who are following me for business too, and for teaching. So I have a bunch of different stuff, and now I'm posting twice daily. Is it a lot of work? Yes. Do I have to spend at least 1 day a week recording content? Yes. So I schedule that in, and I batch, and we'll talk about that. I batch record. Decide when you'll post and how you'll make the content. So there we go. So a lot of people like to make content on the fly. I do not. I like to batch record, edit, and load everything up in Instagram. And sometimes I'll even write the captions in a notes app on the side and have it there because that's easier for me. But I know people who post daily and they come up with a post on the fly and they just go with it because that's what works for them. That makes me really anxious. If I don't have a post for the day, I'm like, oh God, what do I do? And then I overthink and it never comes out good. So, but do you, again, whatever works for you. My business model is not going to work for most people, right? Maybe a few people will be okay with what I do. You've got to make it your own. And then finally, what's really important here is make sure you're highlighting what you're known for. If you're constantly sharing videos from different locations about different topics, people don't get that. Are you known for your studio space? Right? So if you know and you find my videos and you see the pink wall with the 2 pictures on it, that's me. And you know that, you see that. There are a lot of pullers that you'll know them from their studio. And you go, oh, there it is. I love that studio. Or maybe you are someone who does talking head videos, right? Do you know what talking head videos are, where you're like right in the camera and just, I know people like that now. I have a hard time with it. I feel like I'm just way too close. But you'll see like Stacy Shapiro is in her stories in talking heads all the time, right? She loves that. So she's known for that. You know, you're going to go into your stories and Stacy's going to be talking to you. Hey guys, right? She's right there. That's what she's known for. Me, not so much. I'm not real comfortable with that. Do you teach tutorials? Tutorials. I teach tutorials. Sounds like some kind of whole food choice or something. I apologize about that typo. Get a good laugh if you're watching that at home. Do you do tutorials? Some people do tutorials. Show your personality and be recognizable. What I will say, one of my right now business coaching clients that I work with one-on-one said, Fran, how do you know how much to give in a tutorial? Well, you want people to see that you're able to teach and break things down, but you don't want to give away your whole program for free. So I can give tips about handsprings, true grip handsprings, all I want, but I'm not going to go on and give them the entire warm-up, the entire conditioning workout, the entire technique workout all at once. I give little pieces of it. If you can put that together, that's great. And use it, it's great. You've got results. I love that. But if you can't, then you have a program you can buy from me that has it. So I don't give all of it. I give enough that people can get wins and trust me to be their strength and conditioning coach, right? But not all of it. I'm not going to give everything away. We had a conversation too about at Trained Case in Charleston about how much coaching to do in a DM, because you'll start to see when you start building, becoming known and building like and trust, people will reach out to you and say, hey, I'm having trouble with this. Can you tell me what to do? Or can you give me an exercise for that? In the beginning, it feels like you want to give out as much information as possible to people. And if that feels right to you, you can do that. But you will find that coaching in the DMs when you're working with other people and they're paying you isn't fair to the people who are paying you. So it's okay to say to people, hey, that's a great question. That's a hard one for me to determine in a DM without seeing any movement. And I find that I might do you an actual disservice by telling you what to do just through a DM. If you want to book a one-on-one with me, I'd be happy to take a look. Of course, this is a paid service, but I have no problem doing that. That would be the best way for me to answer that question for you in good conscience. A lot of times they'll disappear, and that's okay. Not everybody wants to pay for a one-on-one, or not everyone feels comfortable with a one-on-one, but they're okay behind a keyboard asking a question. Right? So that's going to be up to you with how much you want to do that. I used to do it a lot in the beginning because I was in this build phase and I just wanted to build. And I figured, well, people will get more out of it if I can teach them stuff. Not so much. Those people that got their question answered didn't necessarily become customers, but they got their questions answered. Now I don't do it. I just don't do it. But again, we'll end this by saying, show your personality, be recognizable in some way, shape, or form. We're going to get into the types of content, because one of the biggest questions I get whenever I start business coaching with people is, what should I post? And yeah, it's hard. It's hard to think about stuff, but we've got so many avenues for thinking up content anymore. I mean, you can use ChatGPT and ask it what kind of content to make. It's an amazing thing. This really the most frequently asked question I get is, why aren't my posts getting shown to new viewers? And we've already talked about that. It's a pole dance thing, right? And we can't do this. Well, so-and-so is getting views, but I'm not. And why not? I don't know. And you probably won't know either. It really just has to be data driven. You have to look at what's performing and what's not, and just analyze the data and figure it out. If you think of it as a problem, it will always be a problem. If you think of it as a puzzle, you can figure it out. So just a little mindset shift. Right, so what to post? Here's types of content that you can use and where they're usually appropriate. Text-only posts. Remember back in the day in Facebook, you would just write, I am shoe shopping, and people would like it. I don't know why that was ever a thing, but it was text-only. You just a statement there. Photos and photo albums are great on Instagram. They're great on Facebook. Reels and TikTok videos. Reels can be posted from your Instagram to your Facebook account if you have those tied up together so they can go over naturally. They can be on Instagram, and you can make videos on TikTok. Again, I'm not a big fan of TikTok. I have it. I don't use it much. It's kind of like the Wild West over there. I don't know. Not my favorite. You can create long form videos. These are great. Back in the day when I started polling, again, Instagram was short pictures or really short videos. You couldn't learn anything. So we would go to YouTube and you're looking at, oh, how to do this, and just look it up. So long form videos are here to stay. And if you notice when you Google something, if you Google how to change a tire, you get a YouTube video. You get about 10 YouTube videos as the first hits. So think about that as far as building your brand. If you can't get away with a lot of stuff on Instagram, you may be able to do more on YouTube. Be careful with music on YouTube, however. There's a whole music rights violation thing there. So carousels. Carousels are those posts where you either have like picture, 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 or picture tweet card video that you can swipe, right? And you'll see there's a bunch of them in one post. Those are great. Those do really well, really, really well on Instagram. Why? Because if you've got 5 slides in one post, that's going to keep coming up in people's feed. Slide 1 will come up, and then they're scrolling. Slide 2 will come up, and they're scrolling, and there's your slide 3. Like, didn't I see this post already? Yes, they're going to see it 5 times. But keep that in the back of your mind with things. Quotes over video are really great for pole dancers. And especially because if you're not trying to give a tutorial and you're just doing a combo that you find lovely, put some text over it. It may hide what Instagram doesn't like. And at the same time, as you're adding text over it, the Instagram search engine, when people type in something that they're looking for, it'll bring up your video because it's got that text on it that the search engine will recognize, and share. So again, we can be strategic in how we get people to see our content, right? Don't get caught up in your outfit or how cute your butt looks or something like that, right? We all know your butt is gorgeous. We love it and we want to see it. But the Instagram powers that be don't. So sorry. I want to see it, but they don't. All right. Tweet cards. So you can use those on X. You can use them in Threads if you're over there. You can use them on Instagram as well. I make tweet cards in Canva, a little software app, right? That I can make it look like it's a tweet or an X. I don't use Twitter. I don't use Threads. I'm just not that, I don't have that much to say. And I don't care about reading all that stuff. It's just me though. I like video. I'm more of a video person. And then lives. Now, lives used to be big, but they're still really, really useful. And it gets people to know you, right? If you're on there live and you're just talking, there's no hiding behind editing apps or anything fancy. You're just there talking, kind of like today. My ums and ahs are staying. You're just getting me. You can do those on Facebook. You can do them on Instagram. You can even do them on TikTok. Those are great to use when you're selling something too. All right, so let's talk a little bit about each post and how often to use them. Solutions posts. These are my favorite. And what a solutions post is, that is something that you're teaching. You're giving them a solution for a struggle they're having. This is the kind of post that got me a lot of viewers in just 4 years. Because it was building trust. And you know you're building trust when people reach out and ask you questions about your post. Right? I shoot for 3 to 4 times per week with these types of posts. Now sometimes they'll be business related. I'm still solving giving a solution to a problem, but they're also strength and conditioning. Story posts. Now, I'm not talking about your stories at the top that you can scroll through. I'm talking about feed posts that are stories about you. Share these to your main feed. These are going to build trust through connection. Tell your story to your audience. How did you get to where you are today? Let them see themselves in you, in your transformation. So for me, I started telling stories about shoulder injuries I had before I learned about targeted strength and conditioning, when I was just muscling my way through things. I could tell stories of people pushing me into moves that were way out of my range of motion, right? There's a story that I have about what I learned about that. So those are little micro stories that you can tell once or twice a week about yourself, anything. And then you should have crafted somewhere in a notes app or in a Word document or something, your macro big story as it pertains to your business. Not, I was born in Indiana and then my parents moved to, nobody cares. I mean, you can do a little bit about that. You can do a little of that and make it relevant to your business. But most of this is about your business, right? I was a struggling bodybuilder, fitness professional. I started pole dancing on a whim because it was an alternate form of exercise. I had so much fun that I started going all the time. I became obsessed. And because I was strong and my instructors had no idea about proper foundations and strength and conditioning, they just let me do things. And I was doing handsprings 3 months in, twisted grip handspring, 3 months in, 3. It was wrong. If I showed you pictures of it right now, you would die, right? I tore my shoulders up. And so I knew there had to be a better way. So I started researching and using my strength and conditioning background as a strength and conditioning coach to start to look at body weight exercises and how we can start incorporating more targeted strength and conditioning that gymnasts did to pole dance to prevent injuries and start building solid foundation so that we can progress into tricks. So that's my big macro story. I can tell that maybe once a quarter, maybe twice a year, that whole big story. And then I can take pieces of it out from there that have happened along the way to be mini stories throughout. People want to see this transformation that you've had. So they trust you with theirs. Now, at some point, you are going to have to offer some kind of service as a business owner. So these are your direct sales posts. And you can, if you're selling something, launching a program, it can be buy this, right? But that should not be your entire feed, right? We want to do this creatively. You can share how people can work with you. You can share the results that they are getting with you. You want to do these about 1 to 2 times a week, or if you're launching, even more. So when I was launching this, it was every day had something to do with this. So if you go back and look at my posts for the past 3 weeks, read them, and you'll see that some of them are like, join Content to Cash. Some of them are, a little bit less in your face, more storytelling. But at the bottom, if you'd like to see more of this, join Content to Cash, right? So I'm not going to do that so much when I'm not selling, but when I am, I do. You may want to pin a post to your page that talks about your services as well. If you go to my page, you'll see that I have that all pinned. So we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of each of these. So with your solutions posts, they can be a question and answer type of format. What's the #1 exercise to build strength for handsprings? And then you share yours. Is it the #1? For you, it is. Don't fall into that. And if somebody says to you, that's not the best exercise, well, thank you for sharing. Which one do you like? I'd love to hear what you think, because you'll get those people and they just want to nudge. Just take it with a grain of salt and thank them. Or you could do like swipe for the answer. You could have it on a tweet card and swipe and then show the exercise, something like that, just to get people to interact. You could do a numbered list, 3 entries into Gennaro. Right? It could be a list. And then you could say, hey, check tomorrow's post. I'll give you the video on each. Right? So there's 2 pieces of content from one idea. Or you could do, here's the list of entries to Gennaro on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, show each entry. Boom, 4 days of content, right? And maybe you're leading up to a Gennaro workshop. Who knows? Right? These posts, the point is that they have some utility and people will learn something from it, whether they buy from you or not. You really want them to be able to get some small wins with your techniques and strategies. Story posts. Make sure your stories have 3 parts. The before, whether it's you or a client, the aha moment, what changed for you, and the after. You want to tell your stories with as much detail and specificity as possible. Share the struggle. What's the feeling, the emotion in the before? Not just, I couldn't do my handspring and I was frustrated. Do you ever try to get a trick and no matter what you do, you just can't get it? You just leave class drained, emotionally and physically drained, and you feel like you're never going to get it. Have you been there? Because I have. You see the difference, right? It's a little more compelling. And that's why I'm doing my blog. I'm trying to learn how to write like this. It's a skill, y'all. It's really hard. It's taken me years to get to the point that I can even think of these little things to say. But make sure you're tapping into the feeling that people have and the feeling that they want in the after. Okay. I felt so strong walking into pole class after that. I nailed my handspring after 3 attempts because of that tip, right? Sales. You can say things, they don't have to be direct sales, like how Millie finally nailed her shoulder mount, step-by-step plan in the caption. And you can share it, like what you gave to Millie to get her shoulder mount. By doing that, you're subtly referencing the fact that you're a coach and you're working with people and you're available for hire, right? Some people don't even know that. Oh, wow, you do coaching, right? So let people know in that subtle way, this is what I do. And then again, as I said before, put that pinned post of your services on your feed. So again, feel free to go to my page and look at the top. It's like, start here. Here's what I have, and here's some free stuff. What's the free stuff for? To get people off the internet and onto your email list, right? Because those are your warmer people. They've committed to you. Yeah, we want them to see what you offer clearly when they land on your page. Sounds like a lot of work, right? Yep. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. If building a business were easy, everyone would do it, right? What's the point? What's the point of all this? Building trust. It works. It works. That's the way to build online revenue, is to build trust with people. Potential customers are not buying on impulse. We've talked about this in the beginning. They are looking for people they know, like, and trust, especially our younger people. If any of you are Gen Z out there, you know, you people, you are the ultimate informed consumers. You guys are looking up everything, search engineing everything, you know, checking everything out. You want eco-friendly, you want inclusive, you want this more personal touch to things. And I think that's great, as opposed to some, you know, older people may still tend to lean towards bigger companies, known brands that they're used to. But be available to build that trust with people, and you will do well. DMs are more important than flashy video editing, flashy websites, anything that you can do. Prospective customers want to talk to you. They want to feel connected to you. And right now, your audience is as small as it will ever be. So if you can get into your DMs and start conversations without hiring someone to do it for you, do it. What have you got to lose? It's just interaction. Now, Instagram, interestingly enough, is moving away towards link in bio. So we used to say, hey, hit that link in bio and go buy my program, right? Not anymore. We're going to start seeing when you click on a link in someone's bio, it's going to give you a warning that you're leaving Instagram and you might be open to spam attacks. So what's that going to do for a lot of people? They're going to go, boop, I don't want to do that. So there is a DM automation service that's called ManyChat. And I don't say people should go and invest in anything, you know, until they've start making money in their business. Right now, you can answer your DMs on your own. But when you start to get a little bigger, you can say, like I did with this, comment cash, and I'll send you the link. And so what that did was triggered the automation, and then it sent, you know, hey, check your DM, we saw it. And then in your DM was an instant message. And I can start a conversation with that message through ManyChat and have a variety of answers going back and forth. I do also go in and talk to people on my own. It's not all automated, but you can do that thing now with a very small following. You can say, comment Gennaro, and I'll send you my tips. And all you have to do is look at your comments and go, well, Sally said Gennaro, let me send the tips out. It's a little bit of work. Yeah, it is. But you're building those connections. So get into your DMs and really talk to people. Time and energy management is really important. It's easy to get burned out, and I get burned out very easily because I tend to run everything all at once. And then, you know, like I had just finished all the sales emails for the Pole Business Intensive for you guys. And then I have a different set of sales emails for people who did not take a part in this for colder leads. So it's a lot, and then making content on top of it and getting the program up and running and all of this stuff. It's a lot. Consumption, though, is a distraction. We said this before too. So if I were to spend all my time doing this, trying to think of better ways to do things or find better ways to do things, I'm wasting time and not creating, right? So try to consume less and create more. Posting to socials, writing emails, creating programs all take time and a lot of mental energy. So don't waste it by doom scrolling. Don't get caught up in comparison syndrome. It's not worth it. Focus on you and what you have to give. I like to schedule time to create. For me, I have about 30 minutes, maybe 30 to 60, depending on how slow my brain is in the morning, to get my post out in the morning. So usually about 30 minutes in the morning. And then I will do once weekly where I spend 2 or 3 hours recording and editing. And I have that scheduled in. So I batch create. recording the content, the captions, all the visuals. There are some things that I do on the fly. If I feel like I have something different that I want to say, I can create something on the fly too. But it really, really helps to batch create. And so what I don't do is on the days I'm batch creating, I don't do things like this. So I won't be having to put so much energy into a live presentation and then go and record, because I'll need to take a big nap after that, because I get drained very easily, emotionally drained, right, from all of that giving. So batch your content. If you're working on emails, have a day that you're on your computer doing that, or an hour on your computer without distractions, without going from thing to thing. It's going to conserve energy for you too. You can, if you're having trouble with what to post, you can create weekly or monthly themes, right? So you can do a handspring week or a flexibility week. I did that for a while in 2022, I think the month of May just had all different weeks where I just focused on one thing. And it's a lot of fun, and it gives you direction in how to post things. Remember that perfectionism is just a form of procrastination. I know you want to be perfect. It's not really a good idea to focus on perfection. It will drive you crazy. Post and move. Don't overthink it. That's why I said that early on. If you're going to post, just do it. Don't overthink it. Post something, let it go. Let it lie. Because posting and agonizing over what happens afterwards is just an energy suck. It really is. Yes, we want our stuff to be good, but you know what? You can spend hours on a post, and I actually did a funny little post about this, that you can spend hours on a post, all that work, and what did it get me? And you get like a handful of likes, and you're like, but why? It was so good. Who knows, right? So just post and move and use that as data. That's all it is. It feels so high stakes when you first start, like, oh my God, I'm going to put this out there. People are going to think I'm stupid, or they're going to think I'm an imposter. I'm not good enough for this. I can't do this. My combo isn't good enough. Stop. Think about each post as being one drop of water in your brand's swimming pool. So if I'm trying to build the Body by Fran swimming pool and fill it with water, each drop is important, but what's more important is the cumulative drops. So I challenge you to look at the number of posts you've made more than the number of followers you have. The follower count will begin to increase as you start to provide more value, get your reps in, and start building your brand. Right? It's all evens out that way. If you're not posting, if you're not consistent, if you're not giving people what they're thinking about, or you're over analyzing every little thing and not getting your work out there, no one's seeing it, and nothing's changing, right? So you can wait and have nothing change, or you can post daily, get in the habit, start building a brand, start building trust, start finding what works and what doesn't, start laughing at yourself a little bit, because we all make mistakes, and that's okay. And then move forward. So not all posts are going to get attention, and that's okay. Understand that, especially if you have invested a lot in it. It's probably not going to get anything. And just because you use a trending audio doesn't mean it's going to go viral. Just because you use the, what do they call them? I can't think. I just went blank. Hooks, right? You put a hook on there. Well, somebody said if I use a hook, I'll get more attention. Maybe, maybe not. The first 1 or 2 years of doing this, yes, 1 or 2 years, you're going to put out more effort than you get in payout. Sorry. It's what it is. But if you go into that with that mindset and you're not thinking, why isn't this working? You're just saying, I'm filling the swimming pool, filling the swimming pool. One day I'll get to go swimming in it. After about 2 years, you're going to get to start swimming in that pool and really enjoying what you've built. So think of your page as like Netflix, right? You like to go on Netflix and binge stuff. I do. I binge Suits in like, I don't know, a couple months. I just every episode, start to finish, right? We love to binge. So when you find somebody with good content and there's a lot of it, you want to binge it, right? Be binge worthy. Give them enough stuff that if they go, I didn't like that one so much, but ooh, there's another one. Right? If you've got 5 posts that you are worried about being perfect, people are going to get bored with that soon and leave. But if you've got 500 posts for them to go through, wow, It's binge worthy. Be binge worthy. All right, so check this out. Now I know I have 53,000 followers, so I have a lot higher numbers of people seeing things. These are two relatively high ones. And I'm going to show you from strength and conditioning on the left to business on the right. And we'll look at the difference. Because I have a bigger following of strength and conditioning people, I've got 15,000 plays on doing a pencil deadlift with rubber bandits and struggling to get into the band because that's relatable and it's funny. And the trick is impressive, right? I even had my old Chinese pole coach commented on it and was like, wow, that looks really great. So it's impressive, right? So I had 15,000 views, 329 likes, 8 comments. 4 of those comments are mine because I always comment back. Okay? 25 shares and 190 saves. And then you look at the business one, and look what I did here. I said, one of my clients asked me recently. That was a real conversation. And I'm telling people I have business clients now, right? Because people may not know that. Strength and conditioning coach, turning business coach. So here's the info. And I got 8,000 views on that. I am delighted with that. It's not as many as the other. Would I have liked to have more? Yes. It's okay though. 106 likes, 3 comments. That was just one conversation back and forth with one person. 4 shares and 16 saves. All of that to say, don't get upset by it. Really don't. Another one of the biggest questions I get is, well, how do I know when I'm ready to sell? I have this great program, Fran, and I want to sell it. And this is what happens with every business coaching client when we start. Okay, so I want to launch a program. All right, well, what are you doing on your socials? Well, nothing yet. All right, so how are you going to promote the program? Well, I'm just going to tell everybody that it's ready and they can buy it. Okay, it's not really going to help. Be honest with you. It's not that easy. If it were, we'd all be selling online. What is simple is knowing when people want to buy from you. And that's when they start asking you for help. So they reach out to you in the DMs. They're asking a question in the comments section, or they ask you directly, how can I work with you? It's really that easy. That's when you know that people are starting to know, like, and trust you, and they want to work with you. So don't jump to putting your program out there before you build the audience for it. Put the work in the socials. If you've been doing it consistently, you're going to see this happening automatically. People will start asking you. And if not, if you've been at this social media game for quite a while and you're posting stuff and you're not getting interactions, you're not getting engagement on your posts, you're not getting any DM questions, your messaging may be off. And the messaging is what you're saying to them. You may not be making them feel like you have a solution for them. You're not tapping into what they're feeling, or you're not producing content that they're interested in. Right? So if I were to start posting all about having stronger biceps, that's one of the things that people don't want to hear about, is strong biceps. I don't know why. It just consistently tanks with me, and I love training biceps. But anyway, so if I went in and just started talking about that and then started trying to build a program on biceps, I'm going to fail miserably because people don't want that. So they're not messaging me about biceps. They're not asking me to teach them about their biceps. It's just not a thing. So why would I do it? Because I love biceps? Silly. Silly, silly. So what should you sell? And we're going to talk about this, and we're actually going to put programs together, designing what I call a signature framework for your work. For me, my signature framework is the Pull Strong method in the 3T system for my strength and conditioning. So we will be developing that, creating your offers. All of that's going to be done in the Pull Business Intensive. Note how I put that on the side there, right? Because as I said before, this training is going to get you results. You can use all of this stuff and get to work now and start building your brand and start building your following and get ideas. Absolutely. And if you want to go further, I've got an offer for you. This is a lead magnet, right? So I'm teaching all of that in the Pull Business Intensive. Do not, as I said before, do not sell what you want to teach or share without seeing if there's a demand for it, right? Every time I post an Iron X, an Iron Flag, a deadlift, a cup grip handspring, any of that kind of stuff, I get a million questions. I get all kinds of DMs. My arm hurts. I can't do this. What should I do? I can't kick up. All these questions. I could do a comprehensive cup grip program right now because people want it, right? Because people are asking. I'm not going to do a comprehensive bicep program because I like it, right? Silly. I mean, I'd like it, but or how to balance out your lobster claws, right? My lobster claw has gotten bad. So how do you find out if people want what you want to teach? Do polls. Ask in your stories. Would you rather see this or that? Do you like this? What's your favorite pole move? What are you working on now? If you're teaching pole specifically, ask them what they're working on and offer a workshop in that. Ask your current students, what are they looking to learn? Use your social media data. Look at your posts. I know I crush whenever I do something with some kind of deadlifting, right? So I'm going to use that data to drive what I want to sell and to give my ideal clients what they want from me. And I want to help them with a struggle they're having. And it has to be a struggle that they know they have. Can't get into that handspring, right? So if you can't get into your handspring, this is the class for you. I've got the secret, right? That kind of thing. Where to start? So most people, when they go into the online world, start with one-on-one coaching offers. I did that. I did some one-on-one. I started with one-on-one fitness coaching. I was doing everything before I niched down to pull. And then I would do pull tricks training and strength and conditioning. I had it all going on. And then I developed my first one-on-one big coaching offer was called Tricks Fix. And that was in, I believe, the end of 2020. And it was an individual coaching offer that I took applications for people who had one trick that they wanted to master. And so what I did was give them an analysis of what their struggle was, a workout program designed to fix their struggle, and a couple of calls over the 5 weeks to go over how they were doing and to help them implement the training to get the trick. And I had so many people jump in for that I had to shut down the applications because I didn't have the manpower to do it all. One-on-one is a great way to start. It gets people an opportunity to work up close and personal with you. And those are usually higher ticket as well. So you can price those a little bit higher. You can start teaching pop-up classes. In the very beginning, when the pandemic started, I started learning how to teach online. I was teaching high school, so I had to do classes online during the day. And I was teaching for a gym and 2 pole studios. So we were doing classes online there too. So I was Zooming all day long. It was horrible. But I started noticing that people wanted all over the world didn't have classes from their studios going online. So I just started doing pop-up classes. I was like, let's do inverts, all about inverts. Filled it up, right? Handsprings, all things handsprings, I think I called it. Filled it up. It was a pandemic though, so yeah, there were a lot of people buying, but pop-up classes are great. They're a low barrier to entry and very low commitment for people. So you can say, well, I'm going to teach a handspring class. If you watch, Stacy Shapiro is doing one this weekend. Just handsprings. It's a pop-up. I think it's $45, right? And you get the recording, so you don't even have to go live. And it's a way for people to get wins with you and you to start making some money. Okay? Don't be surprised if you haven't been on social media and you all of a sudden offer a pop-up class and nobody signs up. Kind of have to build that know, like, and trust, right? Even for a pop-up. You could have something DIY to sell to people, something pre-recorded. or something with a live component to it. Whole Business Intensive has pre-recorded lessons that y'all will watch on your own in your own time and can take notes. And then we'll get together for group talks where I teach for a while. And then we get into the weeds of people's businesses and start implementing this stuff, right? And so I do things like helping write copy, like I say here, on how to rephrase things. Planning out lead magnets and generating leads, how to sell, how to develop a program, how to develop a methodology, all that. So it can be DIY. I enjoy coaching and teaching this way more than training now. I used to enjoy training more than coaching and teaching. So I did a lot of DIY in the beginning. Here, buy this. I don't want to have a lot of me time component, but now I want the me time in it, right? So I'm just changing it. When you change what you love, you change it for them and see if they love it too. All right. Naming your programs. This is fun. Alliterations are really a great way to start thinking about naming programs. They're fun and easy to remember. Content to cash. I think Stacy Shapiro had a business course, Pull to Profit, right? It's alliterations. It's kind of cool. They stick. They're sticky. You don't want them to be too creative and too cute or overly clever, right? Oh, that's content. Huh, there's another typo for you, right? I'm being authentically me, Fran with the typos. My husband yells at me all the time. Anyway, so be creative, but not overly cute or clever. People need to understand what it is. Content to cash kind of tells you that, doesn't it? How to turn your content, social media content, into money. If I said cash it out, it would be cute, but you have no idea what that means. What the heck is cash it out? I don't know what that is. Acronyms are great for naming, too. I like that. PBI is the Pole Business Intensive. You can shorten things up. PBB, Pole Body Bootcamp, TTM, the Teacher's Toolkit Mentorship. I tend to use those. Content to Cash was my first alliteration. I'll be honest with you. Again, I'm a scientist. I'm not that creative. So I kind of have to see things and create from them, which is okay, right? Because we all learn from other people and we take from other things. So if you have a freebie coming up, you can feel free to change content to cash to something similar for yours. All right, so we're going to get into what you need versus what you don't need in starting an online business. What you need, probably your phone camera. That'd be good enough. That's what I started with. And that's what I use now. Most of 90% of my recording. Some lights. I have a little ring light here, and it's just shining on my face right here, giving me some light, so I'm not all shadowed out. A computer, a laptop. But you can do a heck of a lot on your phone. I do a lot of stuff on my phone, majority of stuff. You might want to have YouTube or Vimeo to host your videos if you're doing something like that. You don't have to, but PayPal or Venmo to start collecting money. So someone asked me specifically, I don't even know how to start collecting money. I started with PayPal. And it was my personal PayPal. It was like paypal.me/whatever. And I gave it out. Just buy here and say, you want to sign up for a pop-up class? Here's my PayPal. And then I would send an email out manually myself with the link for the class in it. That's all. I had my camera, I had my light, my computer, my YouTube videos, and my PayPal. And that's it. And that was Body by Fran in 2020. What you don't need is a fancy website. I did put a website together by myself. I did it on Squarespace, and it was cute, and it was utilitarian. And then now that I have a bigger business, I've hired somebody to go in and retool the website, and it's better, but you don't need that. You don't even need it to start. You just need to say, hi, I have stuff. Train with me. You don't need a hosting platform. Right now, I have all of my programs on something called Kajabi, and it's $199 a month. I do not recommend you do that. It's a lot of money to spend if you're not having anything come in yet. Don't do that. You can put them on YouTube for free and make them private and then just send links out to people for videos, right? You don't have to have a platform. You don't need fancy editing software. There are a lot of free. I used InShot for free for a long time. I'm now using the paid version of it just because it has a little bit more to it. But there are a lot of free editing apps. I use CapCut. CapCut, I use the free version. And I edit all my program videos on my computer and CapCut, just truncating them down. Nothing fancy. I'm still not a fancy video person. So it's not necessary. You don't need a videographer or photographer, but having professional photos does look nice when you do have a web page. Get some poll videos, get some poll pictures. We all love that. Get a Don Curry shoot and just add some text to it. Join me for handsprings, right? And when you're in a handspring or whatever it is. You will see people with videographers following them around. It's beautiful. It's great. You don't need that, though. You don't have to have that. If you've got a friend that'll do that for you, have them do it. Have at it. That's awesome, but it's not a requirement. And you don't need an automated email server. I started asking people for their email addresses in classes. It's like, do you want to be on my email list? Can you write your email down on this page? And they did. And I just started writing emails to them. I just put them aside in a list in Yahoo. And these were the people that agreed to be on my email list. You can't just start emailing people willy-nilly without their consent. And I just started sending out tips. Okay? Most of those people are still on my list today. When I got an automated email server, I had 127 email names that I had collected. I was so proud of myself. I now have almost 4,000. And it's through things like this, right? So giving away freebies, and I got your name and your email, and you can very easily go in and unsubscribe, and I will not be offended by that. That's absolutely fine if you don't want to hear from me. But you can even just stay and watch and see what I do if you want to start to get an understanding of what the flow of online business is like and email marketing. But you don't need anything fancy right away. I want to see you out of this have enough confidence in yourself to start showing up authentically as you, to start creating content that helps our community and helps your ideal customer get to know, like, and trust you. It's start getting ideas generated for what you can sell, and maybe even starting to sell something. Some of you are already there, and you could just go out and say, hey, I have this pop-up class for this amount of money. Join me, and do it. And that's absolutely fine. And so if you do have some ideas and you're here live and you would like to ask them at the end, that's fine. You can ask them. And here we are. It's not just business, it's poll business. So we're going to go question and answer if anyone has them. So I'm going to stop my share here. If anyone has anything, you can type them into the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask. We did go over the first question that was about coaching in the DMs. Again, you're going to have to gauge that for yourself, but remember, it's not fair for your paying customers to be giving away stuff for free to other people who aren't customers. The next was someone asked, how do you know when to start selling and what to sell and how to pay for, set up the payments? As I said, you don't need the fancy website. You can do everything through one social media account, whichever one you choose, or through, if you use a couple of them, and you can do the link in bio, have people sign up there. Remember, they will get a pop-up though that might drive them away. You can ask them to comment something and then send them a link to whatever it is manually. You can, there's a host of different things that you can do. Let them know what you have or ask, do a poll. I've seen people say, hey, I'm thinking about teaching a class. What do you want to learn? This, or this. And then people will comment. And you see people even say, well, what time will it work for you? Right? And just get some ideas. Guys, even if one person signs up, you've got an opportunity to change that one person's life, to give them some results that mean a lot to them, to have a meaningful interaction with another human being. Okay, so those were the pre-asked questions. Anyone here today have anything they'd like to ask? Sharon, I know you're driving now, so you probably can't. If you end up having any questions over the next couple days, but those of you that are watching at home and you have questions for me, please feel free to reach out either by email, fran@bodybyfrantraining.com, or at bodybyfran in DM on Instagram, and I will answer them there. Again, you are going to be seeing some offers, an offer for you for the Pull Business Intensive, and you will be receiving $100 off for a very short period of time on that program. So keep your eyes open for that. I have no questions, but a lot to think about. Yes, yeah, that's great. I love that. I love when the brain is going and there's just a lot to think about. I hope you took copious notes and you're getting to formulate some ideas. I know this was a lot, and I appreciate you all sticking with me for an hour and a half of my throwing stuff at you. I do hope to see your posts. I hope you tag me. I hope that you're reaching out and getting in touch with people. And again, if you're interested in the Pull Business Intensive, Sunday at 9 a.m., you'll get the invitation for that. And if you're not, just watch the marketing behind that and check out the compelling nature of the writing that I'm learning and that I'm starting to teach in the Pull Business Intensive as well. I'm honored to have had the opportunity to share this with you. I don't know if you can tell, but I get really excited about this stuff. It really makes me happy. And it's a sense of pride for me that I was able to take a dream to reality in just 4 short years and make more money than I did before when I was teaching high school full time and teaching a ton of fitness and pole classes. And I do it part time. So it's been an honor to share that with you. And again, any questions, please reach out and have a wonderful, wonderful day.